All right, so welcome back to the Mile High Focus. We're gonna get right into it real quick. Just before we start, how about the blockbuster trade? Micah Parsons is heading to Green Bay. The Cowboys gave or Jerry Jones gave in and sent what I thought was an untradeable player to an NFC rival.
I mean,
Uh,
when you read in between the lines of like that entire ordeal with Micah and the Cowboys, like I feel like it was pretty inevitable that he was going to be traded. I think that's an unpopular opinion for the average fan. Like literally on Twitter, it's nothing ever happens FC or whatever it's called or whatnot. But something eventually always happens.
yeah,
That's the FC I always stand with, right?
yeah,
Like if you read his fucking trade request that he put out there, bro, he he hated Dallas. Like I never seen like a relationship like that broken so fast. And it was just a matter of time. And when Ricky put out the Packers sent an offer already, like I want to say like 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh, it's gonna be Green
yeah,
Bay for sure.
yeah.
Green Bay would have been all in, and that's a needle mover for sure for Green Bay. Still need a true number one cornerback for me to be all in on them.
Yeah.
They have fucking he's not their corner one, but like they got Bo Melton starting at cornerback right now, or he might not even be starting. He might just be a corner, but
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at with them. They're like right there. They're so close, you know.
Yeah.
But good for them. And Cowboys
Yeah.
fans are in hell again, and that's what they get for rooting for Dallas.
Oh man. All right. Basically today we're gonna get into the offense. We plan on having a defensive version out for this, but what I wanted to do was just kind of break down our thoughts about the offense heading into the 2025 season. We're gonna break this into four categories, with the first category being one thing we expect to be better this season. Whether that is a player, whether that is a position group, whatever the case may be, we both have our answers. We both discussed a little bit prior about what we wanted to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and let Bryce kick this one off. What is one thing you expect to be better about the Denver Broncos offense?
Yeah, and I mean we already messed up. We left the subtitle right there, so everybody already knows my answer. But my answer is run game. I feel like that's a pretty universal answer between all of Broncos country, right? Because obviously you spend a high draft capital on RJ Harvey, whether or not people like them coming out of the draft. Like you don't draft a running back that high to not get him involved, you know. And there was that period of time where he was probably our starting running back. We had Audric Estime as our fucking backup. I remember in the offseason, everybody's hyping up Estime. I'm just like, dude, like, I don't see how that works out, right? Then they go sign J.K. Dobbins like a month later. So it kind of verifies everything I was saying, right? Maybe you don't have to be the biggest J.K. Dobbins guy, but you can't deny the fact that last year, like coming off a career year, he missed, I want to say 4 games, which is the lowest amount of games he's missed in his entire career. I get it. He's been injury prone his whole career, but we've seen it. When he's healthy, he's a very effective running back. Not only just running in between the tackles, he's very good in the passing game, I would say. He's our best run blocking or pass protecting running back for sure. That's the one thing RJ Harvey kind of struggles at for sure. But like the bar is so low to exceed our expectations in the running game.
I mean, like when I think about it from last year, like I think a lot of or a lot of outside perspective that are not Bronco fans thought the run game was good. I remember there's been like multiple people on Twitter, whatever it is, like, oh, the Broncos got a good run game going. Like it was never good. I mean, they had how many rushes of 20 plus rushes? I think it was only one. I think it was Javonte Williams and Tyler Bidet had one.
Yeah, Tyler Bidet week 3 had
Yeah,
that rush of like 40 yards, and that was the longest rush he'd
it was bad. And this team with a rookie quarterback managed to make the playoffs while the run game stalled. I mean, I think the best rushing game we had was either Javonte Williams versus a very bad Saints defense, or was Jaleel McLaughlin against the Browns on that Monday Night Football game. He was ripping through the defense multiple times, and
he was heating up.
And even then, the run game was the reason why we won. So this is something that Sean Payton has always valued in his offense. He's always had two backs, right? Like Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. they were the two-headed monster over there in New Orleans, and it did so many wonders for them. It opened up so much in the offense, and I just think this is going to be so important. And like you said, you took RJ Harvey higher than I think a lot of people had him going. The talent's there. I mean, watching the preseason games, like you see him trying, or especially in the second and third game, maybe not the first game, but you see him
Yeah.
trying to wait for the hole to open up. You see him having that patience you want from a running back. And so I just think, man, this is gonna be crucial, because if we go into this season and the first 6 weeks of the year and the offense still isn't able to run the ball, like they're not going to be 6-0 or 5-1. Like I truly believe this team will struggle to win games, especially against the better teams, if they can't run the football. So this is just going to be something that I think Sean Payton really needs to get a hold of this upcoming year.
Yeah, it's just like you can't have that good of an O-line and not be effective in the run game, right?
Yep.
Like Javonte Williams, our leading rusher, 500 yards total. That's how bad it was. And like I want to say, like more, maybe half of that was in the Saints game. Definitely, obviously not half of it, but maybe like a good portion, right? I think that Saints game was definitely the best rushing game we had last year, for sure, without a doubt. And that just goes to show how bad it really was last year, right?
Yeah.
So I'm expecting a lot from Dobbins and Harvey. Obviously, we kept Jaleel McLaughlin, we kept Tyler Bidet as potential secondary options if one of them goes down or if one of them like tends to struggle a little bit, you know. I would say if the running game is even, I want to say 20% better than what it was last year, right? It'll be very telling.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's get into mine. The one thing I expect to be better this upcoming season is just the wide receivers. Courtland Sutton, you'd hope he's at least 90% of what he was last year. I know he's 30 years old. He just signed the contract extension. You can clearly see after that preseason game against the Saints that him and Bo are still on the same page. It looks like it's going to be good. If you can just get an 1,000-yard season from him, again, it would be great. I think at the minimum you need at least 850 yards from him. I think you just still need him to be, the 16th best wide receiver, the 18th best wide receiver, if everyone else can take a leap, right? So I think one of my biggest questions, and we'll get a little bit more into it later in this, is can Marvin Mims become more of a volume type receiver? Because I think a lot of like the way he's viewed around the league is one as an all-pro returner, but he's just a gadget guy, right? We've heard that so many times. He's just a gadget guy, but can he be somebody who Bo Nix can trust in the middle of a game on a 3rd down and 5, on a 3rd down and 8 to hit him over the middle? And of course, he's going to take the top off the defense here and there. He's going to take a screen pass for a 1st down or so. But can he become someone who isn't just getting the ball 4 or 5 times? Can he become someone who has 7, 8, 9 catches and is making a real difference, is taking a lot of the weight off of Courtland Sutton? And then, of course, Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant. Troy Franklin, I think, who we'll also get into later, I expect a jump from him. But at the end of the day, there's a chance that doesn't happen. For as much hype as he's getting right now after training camp and the preseason, Franklin's had his struggles last year, and he's balling out against preseason teams, and he has done great in training camp, but you have to be ready for the reality that maybe he just doesn't take that step, right? And you can't expect that much from Pat Bryant either. He's a 3rd-round rookie out of Illinois who, I mean, you can't sit here and tell me you expect him to put up 600, 700 yards out of the gate. You know what I mean? It's going to take time. It's a 1 in 100, kind of deal with him for him to go out there and be 800 or 1,000 yards his rookie year when he's not even necessarily starting. And so the trade of Vele also, obviously, it's a great compensation back, but at the same time, you don't have as strong as depth. Trent Sherfield, we know what he is. He's not going to be this crazy difference maker. He's going to be someone who you can hit underneath and whatnot. But can this wide receiver room be better? I think we should expect him to be better, a lot better, actually, because outside of Sutton and half of the year Marvin Mims, there wasn't too much production.
Yeah, and I'll refrain on what I want to say about Mims and Franklin for a later topic. I will get into Pat Bryant a little bit since we don't plan on talking to him later. Like with Vele being traded, right? Like, that just shows how much optimism we have, and not only Troy Franklin, but of course Pat Bryant, our 3rd-round pick. Like a lot of us, myself included, wasn't very excited about that pick, when we took him at first because I thought there were better receivers on the board. I was a big Jalen Royals guy, right?
Yeah.
Like a big possible yak guy, which is what we've been missing. I feel like we have the deep threats in Mims and Franklin for sure. Like we had Bailey, who was a chain mover. He would get open, he would get you first downs, but he wasn't like a guy who could break tackles and take it to the house, right? So when you come here to Pat Bryant, obviously big thing with him is he ran a slow 40. That was a big deal about him, right? But he catches everything that's thrown to him. He's kind of like a miniature Sutton in terms of that. Still with his route running ability. Probably our best route runner on the team. But we do have to kind of slow down on the expectations with him a little bit, I feel like. Could he fucking explode and be our second best receiver? Absolutely. Without a doubt. But that's not something I would bank on.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen. Exactly. This is not – you don't get a Puka Nacua every year. You know what I mean? And he's in the right system too. He's in a perfect system. And I'm not saying Pat Bryant's not in the right system, but that's just something that this is going to be a multi-year development. And in year one, you can't put that much weight on him. So this is why you need players like Franklin and Mims to really step up, which we'll get into it later.
Let me get more into that real quick. And that's why they extended Sutton, right?
Yeah.
Because Sutton is the type of receiver who's also not a yak guy. He gets zero. He's literally the worst receiver in the league in terms of yards after the catch, right? But there's a reason we paid him big money. It's because when you can count on him to catch those 50-50 balls, he will more than likely come down with it, right?
Yep.
Bo became so reliant on that last year that that's what us not having a run game, right? That was what we were relying on is Sutton moving the sticks, right? So just we extend him to this big deal, not like you said, if he could just perform the 16th best receiver in football, that's all we really need. And just for these young guys to potentially be 700-yard receivers, 600-yard receivers, that's all we kind of really need in this offense.
Yeah. We'll definitely see how that works out. There's a lot of expectations there, but we're going to go ahead and get into the next segment here. What is one thing that we think could possibly regress or not do as good as last year? And this was hard. This was hard. There's honestly not too many things you can
this topic.
It's just stuff we got to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my answer for this one. It's the offensive line. I think one of the things that the Broncos benefited so much last year from was the health of their offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They missed a combined 8 games last year.
And that was mostly Wattenberg?
I think Wattenberg, McGlinchey, Powers, I think who all missed games. That is not something that's going to happen every year. Mm-hmm. Injuries happen so often to the offensive line, and you see how detrimental it is to even Kansas City. They made the Super Bowl, but their offensive line got killed.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to be ready for somebody to go down and miss time. And the other question to this is how good really is the depth? Is Alex Forsyth, Calvin Throckmorton, Frank Crum, Matt Part, are they all somebody who you can rely on for possibly 4 to 6 games? If Bowles were to go down, if Miners were to go down, you don't want it to be detrimental to the offense. And especially when you're trying to improve the run game, if Quinn Miners were to go down for 6 weeks, how detrimental are we talking that's going to be?
That interior O-line looks
how bad. And on top of it, and we'll get into it later, but Bo Nix was bad against pressure last year. Bo Nix wasn't that good against pressure. So when you have Bowles or Miners go down, what does that look like? And it's just, man, it's a little scary to think about because, I mean, and the Broncos have had a lot of bad injury luck before Sean Payton was brought in Beer Lowry. But man, you have to be prepared for something like that. And right now, we just haven't seen enough of the depth pieces to really give me that trust that the O-line will be okay.
Mm-hmm. And we saw a lot of it in that San Fran preseason game, our first preseason game, right? Bo just not having time to kind of go through his reads. RJ had to bounce it out to the outside every time, right? It's just, I was arguing with somebody on Twitter the other day of if somebody were to go down, you're just going to trade for another starting caliber guard or tackle just to step in. Depth doesn't really matter. But it's not that easy.
No.
right? You really like people don't understand how important like O-line depth is. Like you can't bank on injury luck going your way every single year. Look at the Niners. Not for like their O-line, but like for their receivers. They're in absolute hell right now.
Yeah.
Like you just can't bank on that. And
Yeah.
you kind of mentioned it right there, and now I'll kind of go into my choice for this topic, which is a very sore topic, and I don't want to talk about it because I don't think it's going to happen, and I really don't want it to happen.
We
But
got
what
to
if Bo
talk
Nix?
about it. We got to talk about it. Just say it. We got to talk about it.
Because this is what our entire season rides on, right? What if Bo Nix doesn't take that next step? All right, that sounds gross. I'm everybody knows me. I'm the
Everybody just take a
biggest.
second. Everybody take a second. This is part of it. This is the reality. This is the reality of football. Like not to interrupt Bryce, but you cannot expect Bo Nix just to do, the most magical thing in year 2.
And exactly and I won't give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he will take that next leap, but you can't bank on it, right? So, second year guy, people are going to have more tape on him for sure, right? Better weapons, same O line, same coordinators, everything's lining up for him to recreate, if not be better than what he was his rookie season. But I don't even know how to start it, because I don't want to feed into everything that I've been going against on Twitter for the past 5 months or whatever.
Yeah.
But going against like a harder schedule, it is still a harder schedule. I know we're a third place team. We're playing a third place schedule, right? But it's still a hard schedule.
Yeah, I mean, you got Green Bay, like they finished third place,
Yeah,
you've got teams on there, man.
Yeah, look at that, and they're probably a Super Bowl contender now, right? But like you said, like Bo Nix not very good against the pressure. If somebody were to go down on the O line, then what does that mean for Nix, right? That's why we not going to a run game. We kind of resorted with those short passes, those screen passes all the goddamn time, and in games that drives me crazy. But I know that's Sean Payton's offense, right? But if Bo Nix in the second half of the year last year was incredible, and like that's just something that I really hope he can recreate for the entire season this year when you get off to a hot start this time. But it doesn't mean like he still had those rough games like the Colts game where he's just chucking balls down the middle just because, he's not prone to make those mental errors.
Yeah. And to go back on that Colts game, like, let's be real here. Do we really win that game if Jonathan Taylor doesn't drop the ball before the end zone?
If Marvin Mims doesn't get that big punt return.
It's you throw 3 interceptions in that game, and thankfully the defense is who they were that year.
Yeah.
But like, are you really winning that game? Because Bo Nix right now, he's not in the level of Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, like obviously.
Yes.
But I think my biggest question is like, will he ever? And if he's not, well, how good is he? Because you would absolutely hate to maybe think about last year being his ceiling. And I disagree with that, to be on record.
I disagree.
But it's a reality. It's a reality. Like Bo's superpower, and I think multiple people have said this. I think Jason Bishop on Twitter, he's the first one that brought this up a while ago. Like his superpower is avoiding sacks. Like that's his superpower, and it's evident. I mean, you saw it in the Saints game. There's pressure. He was getting tackled and checks it to Bidet. You know what I mean?
Complete opposite of Russell Wilson, man.
Like,
it's unbelievable.
I just think like, what can we see get better? And I think that's him against the blitz. I think that's him throwing the ball in the middle a lot more. I think really like Bo is pretty good throwing outside of the pocket, but a lot of those plays were designed. If you really go back and watch, like there wasn't too many times where Bo got out of structure outside of the pocket and made a good throw. Yes, he did it before. But I know there are statistics out there like, oh, Bo is amazing throwing on the run. Bo is this and that. It's almost kind of like what Colorado did for Shadur Sanders. A lot of those plays were designed on the outside of the pocket. I want to see him like play off schedule a lot more. I want to see him be able to, and he's done it before, but like I want to see more of it. I want to see more of what Allen and Lamar and Mahomes all do, and that's playing off schedule, making the second play of the play. Like
Yes,
the
that's
receivers need to
exactly.
be able, the receivers need to be able to have that awareness to come back to the ball, to find the open spot in the zone. And it's just one of those things where like I really hope we see more of that because that's what I think makes quarterbacks really, really special. And I really hope he uses his legs a lot more. I thought there was a period where last year, like for 5 or 6 weeks, he was barely running. Like I don't know if anyone remembers that, but like there was
Yeah,
like a point
no
last year,
design runs, no read
like
options or
no
anything.
design runs, and he wasn't scrambling. Like I should have gotten the stats for that like 5 or 6 game stretch. I want to see more of that. You know, it looks like he's put on some mass. Some of the reporters on Twitter talked about he's put on more mass. Like, can we just see a little bit more design runs? You know what I mean?
No, I completely agree for sure.
That'll be also part of the run game as well. So I just want to see him really just take that step in terms of doing kind of what the badass quarterbacks do. You
Exactly,
know what
and
I mean? A little bit more of that.
I completely
You
agree.
know?
So like that was another argument I had on Twitter a while ago. Like I don't care if you think Bo Nix is a scheme merchant because in the end of the day, you're not really wrong. Okay, he benefits a lot from Sean Payton's scheme without a doubt. That's why it's a perfect match for us. That's why we love Bo. He's able to do what Russ wasn't able to do. But you're right. Like the no design runs, I feel like would just elevate his game so much more. Like he's like deceptively quick, man. Like nobody like
I
takes
mean, the
that into
Patriots did it.
account.
The Patriots did it for Drake May, and Drake May had like damn near or more rushing yards than Bo Nix in like almost half the amount of games.
Granted,
Like
they
they
didn't
did it
have
for
fucking
Drake
anything on
May.
their offense.
Yeah, and it worked. Like I just want to see more of that. You just want to see more of the creativity from Sean Payton in terms of the run game with Bo.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And in this last game against the Saints, like people were raging, myself included, just being the guy I am, being the fucking overreactor. But like his play calling was so demotivating at the beginning of the game
What I
compared to compared to I'm blanking right now.
the game
What's that?
before
Who
Davis Webb? Are you talking about
Davis
Davis
Webb. Yeah,
Webb?
yeah, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
blanking for some reason. But yeah, compared to Davis Webb's play calling in the Cardinals game, and we scored on
yeah.
like a 3-play drive in our first 3 plays. Like, we have
I
zero
mean,
patience here in this
yeah.
for sure. But Sean Payton tended to do that sometimes last year too. It's how he is. So like people are saying like he's not showing his whole playbook in the preseason. It's like I don't know, man. The entire 4 possessions we have with Bo, that looked exactly like last year's offense. I would say.
Yeah, that's what you. I mean, I know. I mean, you have to like almost kind of be like for sure they're not showing everything, but yeah, like you're right. Like you would like to maybe see, you know,
Just a
them
little
show a
bit
little
of
more. I
creativity, a
will
little
give
bit of
credit to
innovation.
New Orleans. I will give credit to New Orleans. Their defense was flying around. I think they're going to be a little bit better than people expect defensively. So shout out to
Sure,
those
for
guys. They
sure. I
were
was gonna say if
flying
you just said the
around.
same total, I was like, I don't know about.
Yeah, they were flying around. So, but yeah, Bo Nix is just honestly I mean, if Bo Nix takes the next step and everything else falls into place, I don't think this could
Yeah,
be game changing for the Broncos. I think it could be game changing for the league, truly.
for sure.
So,
And you have this top one defense. You have this top, like people say, top 3 O line. You have an improved running game. Like
yeah,
Bo has a lot more pressure on him than everybody thinks.
yeah, yeah, 100%. All right. Let's get into the third segment here. What is one thing you are most excited to see about the Denver Broncos in 2025?
So yeah, my answer was definitive from the start. It's Evan Ingram without a shadow of a doubt
Yeah.
because we were talking a little bit about like the receiver room before, but the receiver room includes Evan Ingram, who's our starting tight end. But is he really our starting tight end or is he our number 2 wide receiver? This is our yak guy. This is the dude who can run after the guy. This is the dude who can catch those 50-50 balls just as well as Sutton. For a tight end, he'll be going against linebackers and safeties and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
like 2 years ago, this dude, I'm gonna look up the stats because everybody knows what I'm talking about. When Evan Ingram went off in 2023, 114 receptions, 963 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns in the best year of his career. And this is only 2 seasons ago.
Yeah. I mean, just real quick, if he's even 80% of that, I think it's game changing for the offense.
If he's 20% of that, it's better than any tight end we had fucking last year.
Yeah, that's just true.
It's like the bar is so low, but like I'm not expecting that from Ingram. I expect huge things. I think Sean Payton's going to have a blast with him, right? I think this is the X factor of our entire offense.
Yeah. like you said, in 2023, like that's what you're hoping you're getting, and like I said,
Yeah.
even like 80-85% of that, like the tight end room was so bad last year that it's like if you were to ask somebody who's not even like an average Broncos fan, I guarantee you they couldn't even maybe name a tight end on the team.
For
Like
sure.
I don't
For
like
sure.
Nate Adkins, who we see as like a fullback tight end, had like what 3 or 4 receiving touchdowns last year.
Yep.
Lucas Kroll, just the most inconsistent player, and I know you don't like him.
Oh
I know
man.
you don't like him. I
The most
mean,
Madden
he's back on
generated
the
fucking
team.
player I've ever fucking seen in my life.
Adam Troutman, who is mostly just a blocker, he had the sickest catch against the Panthers, but it's like,
That Panthers game
guys,
is sick. That Panthers game is doing
the
unlimited has
Panthers were
done
a
wonders
historically
for him.
bad defense, so it doesn't even matter. Like,
Yeah, right. He had his
so
moments for sure.
yeah,
But he's
he's a good
just such
blocker.
an unflashy player.
Yeah,
Oh, every single one of them, man.
yeah. The point is, Evan Ingram being brought here is literally like just by itself, even if he is like you said, even like 50% is probably still better than what the Broncos had last year at the tight end position. And we've heard people say this, and like you mentioned, I really don't even think he's going to be a tight end. I think he's going to be a slot receiver, a big body slot receiver who's going to work the underneath and middle part of the field and is going to be just a security blanket for Bo. He's going to get you yard after the catch opportunities, and it's just going to elevate the offense, hopefully to a very high degree, but it's going to elevate the offense no matter what. And you really hope he can stay healthy. I think that's just one thing too.
That goes with all of our free agents for
Yeah,
sure.
we'll get into that in a few minutes. Just the hope is that he stays healthy. I really hope he plays at least 14, 15 games. You know what I mean? If he
Yep.
misses 1 or 2 here, right, for precautionary reasons or whatever, like fine, whatever. But like you really hope he's there and he's playing his best football. Hopefully, beginning of January. So it's just it's a great thing that he's here, and I think a lot of people are really excited to see him. And that big catch against the Cardinals, of course, boosted everyone's hope a little bit, and it just kind of shows his ability. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, should be good. All right, mine is I think probably everyone's if it's not Evan Ingram. Free agent additions. Now we talk about Evan Ingram, who is a free agent addition. I'm talking about the defense in terms of that, but Evan Ingram, when you kind of talk about Evan Ingram and J.K. Dobbins. Dobbins is the other main one, right? That we're basically going to throw in here. I wanted to talk about Ingram too. I kind of just yap about him, but
Yep.
Dobbins, I think too, could be an X factor. Like if he can stay healthy and he can just be the rough running back where he's getting you all the dirty work yards. He's
Mm-hmm.
getting you the 3 yards for the first down. He's getting you the goal line touches. He's staying healthy. It takes so much weight off of RJ Harvey. And you have a two-headed monster in the backfield. Is J.K. Dobbins Alvin Kamara? No, he's not Mark Ingram in his prime. But I think you saw the flashes in Los Angeles last year. His ability to still play at a high level, I think, really can elevate this offense as well. And like we said before, man, if you have a run game, this is going to take pressure off of Bo Nix. It's going to help the offensive line and vice versa. And it's going to, probably give Sean Payton more comfortability, just to call certain plays, to give, Bo more trust. And it's just going to allow everything to go smoothly. And so I think if he can stay healthy, him and Harvey are one hell of a 1-2 punch. I know fantasy managers probably don't want to hear that, but this isn't fantasy. So I'm just
Oh
excited
yeah.
to see, I'm just excited to see, J.K. Dobbins in this. And of course, just to throw out Trent Sherfield as well. He's definitely a part of this. I think like when I remember Trent Sherfield, I felt a little bit better about the Devon Vele trade.
Yeah.
Just because like he's still there at depth, and we know what Trent Sherfield is, and he's gonna bring a veteran presence there that I think you don't really have outside of Cortland Sutton. He's just a great guy. Obviously, he's gonna play special teams as well, like Sean Payton has mentioned before. So
Mm-hmm.
I just think he could be an underrated guy. I think he's somebody here who's gonna probably have a few big plays throughout the season where you maybe see him making a touchdown catch like he did against the Niners.
Uh-huh.
Just gives me a little bit of excitement going forward.
Yeah, shout out to the two dudes on Twitter. I forget their names as of right now, pushing the Trent Sherfield agenda. Very underrated receiver option to be your receiver 5. Like people are saying he'll step into the LJH role, being the the big blocking receiver that we need. But like, dude, like this dude's a very solid receiving option. Like when he played in San Fran, I saw like when he played a little bit with Buffalo that 1 year. Like it was always that name I would occasionally hear. Is like, oh, okay, like this dude's a pretty solid receiver, right? And with the two young guys in our receiver room that we're depending heavily on, let's say like they were struggling at points of times, and you have Trent Sherfield coming up, right? He could step into that Bailey role, I think, just as much as possibly Pat Bryant could. But then going back to what you were saying about Dobbins and Harvey, right? Us resorting to a lot of screen passes last year because our run game was just simply ineffective on early downs, right? So like what if Dobbins and Harvey can get you like those 5 yard, 6 yard rushes now on those early downs? And then you don't have to resort to these screen passes as much. Like people really underestimate Dobbins his entire career because obviously he gets hurt every single year. I'm not denying that, and I'm obviously praying it doesn't happen again this year. But like you do kind of have to take that into account that like there's a very high chance Dobbins could fucking miss time, and that's why I think it was the perfect signing to pair with RJ Harvey, right? Because at that point, like I won't say RJ Harvey's raw. He's like a 24-year-old running back. Played 4 years, 5 years at UCF, however long it was. But you can't expect just a second round running back to come in day one and just be 100% of the touches, right? I think like you lean into the 50-50 way, like the same way we did in 2021 when it was Javonte Williams' rookie year and we paired him with Melvin Gordon. Obviously, taking account into the fumbles, like forget about the fumbles for 1 second. They were a very solid running back room, 900 yards each, pretty much 50-50 even, right? If you get 750, 700 from those guys, like that would move mountains for this offense. It doesn't sound flashy, of course, but it's just the kind of the reality of what we're expecting from that group.
Yeah. Man, we've already touched on the run game earlier. Like it's just going to be huge, I think, this upcoming season, man. And you saw, like, I even go back to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, like, and throughout the playoffs and the end of the year, like when you can't run, and it's the Chiefs are kind of different, but like when you don't have a run game and you don't have a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, like how far can you really expect to go? So yeah, I'm really excited for Dobbins, and I think Trent Sherfield can really do some good things for us offensively and on special teams. To move into this next segment, it is one player outside of Bo Nix that we believe must have a breakout season, a career year, however you want to label it. And I'm going to kick this off with Troy Franklin, who is probably going to be the most obvious one. So I'm just going to hit it. I'm just going to get into it because I like Bryce's better. I was very bullish on Troy Franklin last year. I'm sure a lot of people probably haven't followed me on Twitter for as long or whatever, but it was just the little things, right? Like not getting the right amount of depth on a route, getting too far, coming too close to the quarterback. Man, like the drops, like the deep ball drop in week 5 against the Raiders, like it was killing me. It was killing everyone.
Shotgun blast to the chest.
It was hard. It was really hard to watch. And you felt a level of like disappointment and watching him last year, but the talent's there, right? And I think coming out of college, the reason why he fell to the 4th round was he's this skinny, lengthy, tall wide receiver. Like, can he win 50-50 balls? Yes, he's going to win vertically, but can he block? Can he do dirty work? Can he, and you know what I mean? And it's like, there's just a lot of questions surrounding him. I think you really got a glimpse of what he's capable of on that touchdown in the playoff game against Buffalo. And like he said in his press conference, like that kind of catapulted him a little bit. It made him feel like he can do this.
Change as well.
Yeah, but like it kind of let him know he can do this. Like he's here for a reason. And obviously, like, and this goes back to Pat Bryant real quick. You just can't have too much pressure on a guy like that. And that's why I feel like I kind of owe him a little bit for being so bullish on a 4th round receiver, because Pat Bryant's a 3rd round receiver, and some people think he better, put up 800 yards. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah. So I think Troy Franklin, if he has a breakout year and he literally can put up 750, 800 yards this year, it's going to do wonders for Bo Nix, for Cortland Sutton, for the offense as a whole. And it gives you a solidified wide receiver 2 with upside, with explosiveness. because if Marvin Mims, we'll get to, spoiler,
Yeah, thanks.
doesn't have his name is Mahai Mims on Twitter. This should have not been a surprise to anybody at
I guess
all.
you're not wrong. Yeah, I guess you're not wrong.
If you know Bryce, you know damn well he was going to pick Marvin Mims in this next segment. Just saying. All right. What was I saying? Basically, if Marvin Mims can't take that the volume role, right? You have somebody like Franklin come in and being able to do that, it's just going to do wonders for the offense. And I really do think there's a good chance we get that. I really do think just all of the talk coming out of training camp after the preseason games, you see the difference. Like you see the improvements, you see the confidence. It's going to be pretty big time, man, if he takes that next step.
Yeah, and I agree. Like I said this on my very first podcast appearance on Orange Crush Hour with Trav and JMX. This is back then, a couple months ago, when I was like kind of very skittish on Troy Franklin. I was one of Troy's biggest supporters when we drafted him. I thought that's Bo's number one target at Oregon. Like the chemistry is there, like the tools are there. He just didn't put it together, not even a little bit in his rookie year until that touchdown in the playoffs. Like just this tall, skinny, lanky receiver who kind of had trouble ball tracking, catching over the shoulder. Wasn't the greatest route runner. Obviously, him being with this stature, he wasn't the best blocker. So it's just kind of like he wasn't great at anything, you know. And like that sounds really
like
really
like to put it better, like there wasn't something that stood out about his game. There wasn't that elite factor in his game.
Yes, thank you. And you're right. Like I think we're putting a lot of pressure on him this year because obviously he's built up a little bit more. He's been working on his hands. His catching ability should be improved. And that's why we took Pat Bryant as high as we did for insurance for him, right? And this is also when we still had Devon Bailey, and we planned on keeping Devon Bailey. But, like, you're right. Like, if Franklin just could be that guy that gets us what's realistic? What's a realistic stat line for Franklin this year? Probably like 700.
I would say, yeah, if you're looking for a mean, like for low and high expectations right in the middle, I'd say it's probably around 7-ish hundred.
7-ish hundred. And that's because we got a lot of mouths to feed. You got Sutton, you got Ingram, you got Mims, right? I don't expect him to be wide receiver too. But just to be kind of step into, I feel like I'm saying this for all the receivers that we've been talking about, but to step into that Vele role, be the chain mover, be the guy who can catch over the middle, who can move the sticks, who could be a consistent route runner, you know? That's all we really need him to be, right?
Yeah.
Because we're going into my pick. Everybody fucking knew it. Everybody obviously knew what I was going to be talking about. It's Marvin Mims, right? The second half of the year, obviously everybody started to see like how good Marvin Mims can be. The elite deep threat with him being like the all-pro punt returner, kick returner he's been for the 2 years. Everybody knows he's good in open space, right? So we throw him a lot of screens, we throw him a lot of gadget plays out of the backfield. I really hope we don't switch that up this year. I would still love to see Mims coming out of the backfield every now and then. But everybody says Mims kind of broke out last year. In a way, they're not wrong, but this is kind of how his rookie year was. That first half stretch where we just didn't include him, not even a little bit, man. Like Sean Payton has a really bad habit of doing that with Marvin Mims both years.
Yeah.
And you can say last year with this breakout year, he tallied 39 receptions, 500 yards. And let's say 300 of that was the final 4 games, however many it was. Like, Marvin Mims is probably one of the more underrated receivers in the game, and that's me being completely biased and unbiased at the same time. Him being the elite deep threat that he is, he had very underrated hands. Everybody really counts him out because he's fucking 5'10", 5'9", however fucking tall he is. And they just think of him as like, oh, okay, he's just a fucking tiny slot receiver, right? I disagree because, one, he's not really much of a slot receiver because he doesn't run the routes like slot receivers, right? Everybody talks about us using him as a gadget guy because, yeah, that's what we had to use him as. We tried to get him in the open space. But
yeah, I mean, like,
I'm kind of like rambling right now.
No, I get it. So like, I just think with Mims, like the reason why I haven't been super high on him ever since we drafted him, like outside of the returning ability, is just because of, like what I said earlier, like can he be a volume receiver? Like, and it's like I'm not gonna lie, like it's kind of hard for me to envision that. Like I think the peak of
That's understandable.
Marvin Mims, like the peak of Marvin Mims was the Bengals game. Like, can he do that every week? Like I don't think that's like, let's be real, like I don't think so. And like the problem is too is like you noted, like Sean Payton, there's games where he's not involving him. Like he's getting like a screen or two, and that's it. You know what I mean? And he's not going to be
Probably
able to
the
take
only
the top
rookie
off the
yet.
defense. Yeah, he's not going to be able to take the top off the defense every single week. Like for how good Jamar Chase is, and even Jefferson, there's probably games where like Burrow isn't chucking it 50 yards down the field, even though he had like 11 catches for 140 yards. It's because his yards after the catch ability and his ability to get open in the middle of the field. So can we see more of that from Mims? Can we see more Mims on a dig route, hitting him more underneath, giving him
Over
yard
the
after
middle of the
catch?
field, which is
Yes,
like he
like
really
it's
wasn't included.
yeah. We need more of that because no, he's not a jump ball receiver, even though he basically had an insane catch in the Bengals game. But like
That's not
that's not
sustainable.
it's
Even a
not
little
his
bit.
specialty. No, and so it's like realistically, like how impactful can he be more than what he like? How much more impactful can he be than he was last year? And for me, if you can find a role for him where it's like he's not only an all-pro returner, but he's just taking the top off of defenses. The screen game is working to a T. You're hitting him in the middle of the field and giving him, yak opportunities. There's 700, 800 yards right there. You
Yeah,
know
for
what I
all
mean?
we say that for all of our receivers, but that's the
Yeah.
ceiling. That's realistically
Yeah.
like our entire receiving room, right? They have this
And
upside to be 800, 900 yard receivers, maybe even 1,000. But with all the mouths to feed, with the different skill sets every one of our receivers has, it's kind of really hard to predict who will be that guy, you know?
yeah.
And you're right, like maybe that Bengals game isn't sustainable. Definitely not the 50-50 balls. You're not throwing 50-50 balls to your 5'8" receiver every goddamn week. But I think that's a kind of like a testament of like Marvin Mims has always had great hands, and I feel like people like even if you watch him at Oklahoma, if you watch him in like the Red River rivalry that one year,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he's a very good receiver down the field. Like whether it's not 50-50 balls or not, that's why we have Sutton. We'll throw Sutton the 50-50 balls.
Yeah.
You're just throwing Mims to take the top off the defense, like you were saying, right? But you're right. What if we can develop him to get him in the middle of the field? Like, yes, getting him in open space is key for sure. That's why we threw him the screens. That's why we threw him out of the backfield. But if you get him like on the slants across the middle of the field, on the crossers, on mesh routes, we don't run a lot of mesh for some reason.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be so key to our offense. But you're right. Like those throws middle of the field, not only would it help Bo tremendously because Bo kind of was skittish every now and then over the middle of the field. He warmed up, obviously.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think we just want to see an elevated role. And you just want to see him get at least the targets. You know what I mean? And if he's playing top-notch ball, it gives Franklin more room to grow if he has to. It gives some leeway for Evan Ingram. It gives leeway even for Pat Bryant to an extent. And of course, Cortland Sutton, because like Cortland Sutton is in my eyes really just he's more of a low end wide receiver one. He's not a CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. He's just not. So you kind of need that complementary piece, and that hasn't really been there. You know what I mean? It hasn't really been there. So I just think if you get that complementary piece, not only does the complementary piece, do what it does or do what he does, but Cortland Sutton, I think, could be even better. Like I truly think that opens up more for Sutton because when you're playing against the Broncos offense, like it's just like, well, it's Cortland Sutton, and then you know what I mean. So it's just like, yeah. So I just think
would be one of the best wide receiver twos in the league, without a doubt.
Because I look at Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not saying you need another Jamar Chase or another T. Higgins for Sutton to turn into that.
Jamar Chase just like
that. But you should see what it does. You see what AJ Brown and Devontae Smith can do. You see what Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison can do. You can see what Mike Evans and Chris Godwin can do.
That's exactly what I was about to get to. I would look at it more like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
it's
right?
what you need. That's what you need, and that's what makes the offense so successful, and it makes it harder for a defense. So,
Yep.
um, getting into that, but that's basically going to cap it off. We are planning on doing a defensive preview here in a couple of days, give or take.
If we
Um,
get it out before the season starts.
yeah, 100%. Like we said too, we're also going to do predictions for obviously the Broncos themselves. We're going to have the weekly previews as well. Then we'll have the one against the Titans up next week.
Got a lot of work.
Yeah, but man, if you're listening, I just really, really appreciate it. I know these are, we do our notes. We know we talk about what we want to talk about, and we let it rip, man. We just, come on here and do what we love to do. We're not, we're just
We're here to
doing what you
have
guys want to
the
hear. Yeah,
uncomfortable conversations like what we just had about Bo Nix and all that.
yeah,
That's exactly what we're here for. We like to start up conversations. We like to start up arguments. That's our entire purpose. We just want
yeah.
to happen.
Stuff you guys listen to, whether you're watching on YouTube, staring at our face, or you're listening on Spotify. We really truly do appreciate it. Hey, Bryce got a good hat game though. If you're watching on YouTube, he got a good hat game.
I don't have many more Broncos hats. I need to buy
He
some
got
more, but
he got a good hat game. No, so truly though, we really appreciate you guys
I'll wear
listening,
this
man.
next episode. How about that?
Oh, dude, I got like 4 of them. I know there's one right here, but I got like 4 of them. It's
My
crazy.
thing has no padding in it though. I don't know if I'd be able to wear it.
Oh snap! That is not game day ready. All right. Thank you guys for listening, man. It's a pleasure. I mean, like we truly do appreciate it, man. If you hear this right now, we truly do appreciate it.
Sure.
Anything else?
Nothing from me, man. We'll see you guys next time.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys.